Listen carefully. This moment is not an accident. The words you are hearing right now are not a coincidence. They are a sign, a whisper from eternity, declaring one thing with thunderous clarity. You are the chosen one. Not chosen by chance, not chosen by the hands of men, but chosen by the eternal hand of God. Before the foundations of the earth were laid, before your first cry ever pierced the air, before you ever took your first step, heaven had already marked you. You have walked through shadows, endured betrayals, carried wounds that no one else could see, and yet you are still standing. That is no ordinary survival. That is evidence. Evidence that you are untouchable in spirit, protected by a divine covenant that the world cannot erase. You have felt it deep within yourself, even when you doubted, even when others mocked or dismissed you. Somewhere in the hidden chambers of your soul, there has always been a knowing. You were never like everyone else. You could never blend into the crowd, no matter how hard you tried. That difference was not your curse, it was your crown. But I know what they told you. They said your uniqueness made you strange, made you weak, made you unworthy. They tried to paint your light as a flaw, your compassion as weakness, your visions as delusion. They left scars with their words, with their rejection, with their silence. And maybe there were nights when you questioned everything, nights when you asked God, why me? Why this weight? Why this road of loneliness? But hear me now, the very things that broke you were the things that forged you. The isolation was not punishment, it was preparation. The betrayal was not rejection, it was redirection. Every wound was not an end but an opening, a place where divine power could pour into you. And though people turned their backs, heaven never did. Though some plotted against you, heaven watched and recorded. Though you were made to feel small, heaven whispered, rise, and rise you shall. There is a sacred truth many will never understand. The greater the pain, the greater the purpose. And your pain has been great. It has cut to the marrow of your soul, left you gasping for breath in the darkness. But it was in that very darkness that the eternal flame within you refused to die. When all logic said you should have given up, something greater pulled you forward. That something was not chance. It was the unshakable promise of God over your life. Others may not see it, but your spirit carries a mark that hell itself recognizes. That is why the attacks against you were so fierce. Not because you are weak, but because you are dangerous to the forces of darkness. Look back and you'll see the pattern. Every time you were about to step into a new season, opposition rose like a flood. Every time you tried to break free, voices of doubt and fear tried to chain you down. Every time you drew closer to truth, lies surrounded you. And still, you endured. That is not ordinary endurance. That is the resilience of the chosen. That is the strength of someone who was never meant to perish in shadows, but to stand as a living testimony that God's promises cannot fail. I want you to think of every season where you thought it was over, where you thought you had nothing left. Somehow, a door cracked open. Somehow, a word, a friend, a moment of unexpected strength carried you. That was no accident. That was divine intervention, stepping into your story to remind you the chosen one cannot be destroyed. Your spirit is immortal in the promises of God. Yes, your body may tire, your heart may ache, your mind may grow weary, but your spirit carries eternity. That is why you cannot be erased. And though you have been misunderstood, remember this: great souls are always misunderstood in their time. Prophets, visionaries, leaders, all of them bore the sting of being mocked by those too blind to see. But history vindicates them, and eternity crowns them. You are walking that same path. Those who turned their backs on you will one day have no choice but to acknowledge the power of God over your life. Those who dismissed you will one day remember your words, your actions, your endurance, and realize they stood in the presence of one who was touched by heaven. Right now, I know the weight may still feel heavy. The memories of what you lost may still ache. The fear of what is ahead may whisper in your ear, but lift your eyes. The heavens are not silent. Your tears have been heard. Your prayers have been recorded, and now the time of transformation approaches. The same God who sustained you in the wilderness is about to reveal His glory in your promised land. You are not walking into defeat. You are walking into destiny. Do not measure yourself by what has been taken from you, but by what has been preserved in you. Your faith may have wavered, but it never broke. Your hope may have dimmed, but it was never extinguished. And your spirit, even when pressed, never surrendered. That is the sign. That is the mark. That is why I call you without hesitation the chosen one. Not chosen to suffer endlessly, but chosen to overcome. Not chosen to be the victim, but chosen to be the vessel. Not chosen to be forgotten, but chosen to carry the eternal promises of God within you. And so, as you hear these words, let your heart awaken again. Let your spirit remember who you are. You are not defined by the betrayals, the losses, or the doubts. You are defined by the unshakable covenant that God Himself has written over your life. You are chosen, you are untouchable in spirit, and your story is only beginning to unfold in its fullness. The darkness thought it had the final word, but it was wrong. The final word belongs to God, and His word over you is victory. And now, as you sit with the truth stirring within you, let us look back, not to dwell, but to recognize the battlefield you have already survived. Because you cannot truly see your crown until you acknowledge the battles that tried to strip it from you. You have walked through fire, and yet you did not burn. You have passed through floods, and yet you did not drown. Every scar you carry is proof that you have faced lions and survived their roar. The pain you endured was not meaningless. It was the forge of destiny. And though you may not have understood it then, heaven watched every step. Nothing was hidden, nothing overlooked. God saw it all. Do you remember the nights when sleep would not come, when the weight of betrayal sat heavy on your chest? You thought no one heard your silent cries, but the heavens leaned in closer. You thought your prayers dissolved in the air, but each one was collected like precious drops of rain. You thought your enemies triumphed as they whispered lies, as they celebrated your downfall, as they plotted in secret against you. But the truth is far more powerful. Their whispers became indictments against themselves, and their laughter became seeds of their own harvest. For God is not blind, and the chosen one is never abandoned. The truth is, your life has been a battleground from the very beginning. While others walked in ease, you felt the friction of resistance. While others seemed to glide through life unnoticed, you drew arrows without even trying. Why? Because light attracts attack. Greatness draws opposition. And when the call on your life carries eternal weight, you cannot expect the journey to be without resistance. The darkness saw your potential long before you did. It saw the seed of destiny in you and trembled, for it knew if you ever awakened fully, no chain could hold you. That is why the attacks were fierce. That is why the betrayals cut deep. That is why the opposition rose against you again and again. But pause for a moment and realize this. Despite everything, you are still here. Every battle you thought would finish you has only revealed your endurance. Every storm you thought would sweep you away has only proven the foundation under your feet. Every tear you shed has watered the soil of your future harvest. The enemy meant it all for evil, but God is weaving it into something far greater than you can yet see. You are living proof that resilience is not born in comfort. It is born in fire. Think of the times when your voice was silenced, when you were misunderstood, when your heart was broken. Those who thought they had buried you did not realize they had planted you, and a seed planted in the soil of pain, watered by tears and kissed by heaven's light, always rises stronger. That seed is now breaking the surface. That seed is you. Your adversaries, whether seen or unseen, are trembling even now. They sense what is rising. They sense the shift in the atmosphere around you. They know that what they tried to kill has not died. It has multiplied. You carry wisdom now, forged from the fire. You carry compassion now, born from your suffering. You carry strength now, carved into you by every battle. You are no longer who you were before the trials. You have been transformed into someone dangerous to the powers that once tried to enslave you. And here is the truth you must claim. No battle was wasted. Every arrow that pierced your side, every word that tried to crush you, every plot that rose against you has been gathered as evidence in heaven's courtroom. God himself has seen it all, and he is the judge who does not forget. Justice is not delayed, it is prepared. And as you step forward into this next season, those who thought they could destroy you will be forced to watch you rise. Their laughter will turn to silence, their pride to shame, their schemes to dust. Because when God decides to elevate his chosen, no man, no power, no principality can stop it. The trials you endured have revealed something undeniable: your true spiritual strength. Do you realize that? Many looked at you and saw weakness, but heaven looked and saw endurance. Many expected you to break, but you became unbreakable. The very fact that you are listening to these words now is proof that the spirit within you cannot be conquered. Flesh may falter, but spirit is eternal, and your spirit is not ordinary. It carries the breath of the Almighty. This is why your adversaries fear you. They may not admit it, they may cover it with arrogance. They may try to cloak it in ridicule, but deep within, they tremble. They tremble because they sense what you are becoming. They tremble because your rise is inevitable. They tremble because the hand of God has marked you, and nothing they do can erase that. You have been preserved for such a time as this, not to remain in defeat, but to stand as a witness to the glory of God's promises fulfilled. So let the memory of your past battles remind you not of pain, but of power. Remember the loneliness, but also remember the unseen presence that never left your side. Remember the tears, but also remember the strength that rose afterward. Remember the betrayals, but also remember the lessons they taught you. Every chapter of struggle has prepared you for this unfolding moment. You are no longer just surviving, you are stepping into victory. And as this truth takes root in you, let your heart grow steady with confidence. You were never forgotten, you were never forsaken, and you were never fighting alone. The unseen armies of heaven surrounded you in silence, and now they prepare to march with you in triumph. The tide is turning, the tables are shifting, and your story is about to become the testimony that shakes those who once doubted you. Do not fear the shadows anymore. Do not fear the whispers. Do not fear the opposition. For every force that rises against the chosen one is already defeated before the battle begins. Lift your head, straighten your back, and let your spirit roar quietly within you. I have survived the fire, and I will walk into the promise. Because I am chosen, and chosen ones cannot fall, they rise. The moment you have long awaited is not in some distant horizon. It is already unfolding. You may not see every detail yet, but listen closely to the still voice within. God is about to reveal justice publicly, not whispered in secret, not hidden in private moments, but openly, in ways that cannot be denied. The seasons of silence are ending, and the season of unveiling is here. What was done against you in the dark will be brought into the light, and the very mouths that once spoke against you will be forced to acknowledge the truth. This is the nature of divine reversal. For though men may conspire, God's hand always holds the final word. Think of it this way: every tear you shed was not wasted, it was counted. Every sleepless night was not ignored, it was noted. Every injustice you endured became evidence stored in the halls of eternity. And now the judge of all is preparing to pronounce his verdict. It will not be delayed. It will not be denied. Those who thought they triumphed by hurting you will soon discover they were only actors in a play that ends with your elevation. Their cruelty will become their exposure, and your endurance will become your crown. This is not simply about personal victory. It is about a shift in the balance of spiritual authority. For too long, you were made to feel like the outcast, the forgotten, the one left behind. But now your place is being restored before the eyes of those who doubted you. This is the great paradox of being chosen. Rejection always precedes recognition, and humiliation always precedes exaltation. You cannot skip the valley, but the valley makes the mountain more glorious when you ascend it, and your ascent has already begun. So many times you wondered why God allowed your enemies to prosper, why the wicked seemed to win, why liars had louder voices than truth. But hear me, their apparent success was only borrowed time. God allowed it not to glorify them, but to prepare the stage for a greater revelation. For when justice is delayed, it multiplies in impact, and when it comes suddenly, like lightning breaking through the night sky. The suddenness of your vindication will astonish even you, and when it happens, it will not only silence your critics, it will heal your soul. Because justice is not only about others being exposed, it is about your spirit being restored. The very places where you were wounded will become testimonies of healing. The very areas where you were ashamed will become points of pride. The promises of God are not only protective, they are restorative. You will not simply be preserved from destruction, you will be raised into wholeness. But in this moment, you must make a choice. Not whether God will act because His promises are sure, but whether you will align yourself with His call. Will you keep walking forward, or will you shrink back into fear? Will you let the wounds of yesterday keep you small, or will you rise into the authority you were always meant to carry? This is your call to action. Rise. Step out of the shadows of doubt. Speak with the authority of one who knows they are chosen. Walk with the confidence of one who knows their destiny is secure. Because the only power your adversaries ever had was convincing you to forget who you are. But you know now, and knowledge is freedom. You are stepping into a season where reversals will be so profound that even those closest to you will marvel. Where once there was lack, there will be abundance. Where once there was confusion, there will be clarity. Where once there was pain, there will be peace. This is not wishful thinking. It is divine law. For every action, there is a harvest, and your harvest is due. You sowed endurance when others sowed despair. You sowed kindness when others sowed cruelty. You sowed faith when others mocked you for it. And now the God who never forgets is commanding the earth to yield your return. Do not be surprised when doors open that you never knocked on. Do not be startled when blessings come from unexpected places. These are not coincidences. They are the unfolding of the eternal covenant written over your life. The world will call it luck, but you will know it is promise. And promises from God are irrevocable. Even more, your victory is not meant for you alone. Others will look at your story and find courage for their own. They will see how you endured betrayal, loss, and mockery, yet rose in strength, and they will whisper to themselves, "If they can rise, so can I." That is the power of a chosen life. It becomes a lighthouse for others still lost in storms. And that is why the darkness feared you so much, because your testimony will not remain silent. It will awaken others. So let this truth settle deeply within you. The shift is not coming, it has begun. Justice is at the door. Reversal is on the horizon. Healing is breaking through the cracks of your scars. And victory is your portion. Do not wait for someone else to affirm it. Declare it yourself. Speak it into the atmosphere around you. Claim it with the authority that has always been yours. Say it aloud. I am chosen. I am untouchable in spirit. The promises of God make me immortal in purpose. Let those words roll off your tongue not as hope, but as truth. For you were never meant to remain in hiding. You were meant to rise. And rise you shall, not in pride, not in vengeance, but in the radiant humility of one who knows that every step was guided by the hand of God. Those who see you will not simply see you, they will see the reflection of divine faithfulness shining through you. And that, more than anything else, is victory. So lift your head and prepare your heart, because justice is not coming. It is here. And when it falls, it will fall like rain after a long drought, refreshing every corner of your weary soul. The desert season is over, the storm season is ending, and the promise season begins. You may still ask yourself, why me? Why did the storms rage against me so violently when others seemed to walk unbothered? Why did the arrows fly toward my heart when others lived unnoticed in their comfort? The answer is not hidden. It has been present all along. You have been chosen, and with chosenness comes opposition. The darkness does not waste its energy on those who pose no threat. It reserves its fiercest battles for those who carry the greatest light. You have been a target, not because you are weak, but because you are dangerous to the forces that thrive in shadows. Think of it like this. People who never rise above mediocrity rarely face great resistance. They drift with the current of the world, never shaking it, never challenging it, never threatening it. But your spirit was never satisfied with drifting. You carried questions that unsettled others. You carried compassion that broke through hardened hearts. You carried vision that frightened those trapped in small thinking. And because you carried what others could not, the weight against you was multiplied. The paradox is this: the very intensity of your battles is proof of your calling. If you were ordinary, your enemies would have been silent. But there is another layer you must see. Opposition did not only come from unseen forces, it came through people. People you trusted, people you loved, people you thought would stand by you. And when they turned, the wound was sharper than any sword. Why did they betray? Why did they misunderstand? Why did they try to silence the very light that could have blessed them? The answer lies in the mirror of human fear. When people cannot comprehend your gift, they diminish it. When they feel threatened by your growth, they attack it. And when they cannot control you, they try to destroy you. This is the paradoxical law of chosenness. The brighter the flame, the more it exposes. Your light did not only reveal beauty, it revealed insecurity. Your courage reminded others of their cowardice. Your persistence reminded them of the dreams they abandoned. And instead of celebrating your fire, they tried to extinguish it, not realizing it could never be extinguished, only fanned. Their jealousy was not about you, it was about the reflection of what they lost. Their cruelty was not about you, it was about their inability to face their own shadows. If you understand this, the bitterness loses its grip. You begin to see their actions not as personal daggers, but as projections of their own brokenness. And though their betrayal hurt, it was also necessary. For had they not left you, you might have leaned on them instead of God. Had they not mocked you, you might have dimmed your light to please them. Had they not betrayed you, you might have mistaken their presence for loyalty. But the truth is, their absence became your liberation. And liberation is always the soil for destiny. There is another mystery here, one you must embrace. Sometimes the very opposition you faced was the hammer that shaped you. Do you realize that? Without resistance, muscles do not grow. Without pressure, coal does not become diamond. Without fire, metal does not become strong. The paradoxical law of suffering is this: what feels like destruction is often construction. The forces that tried to break you actually revealed the unbreakable within you. And that is why you stand now, not merely as someone who survived, but as someone who was remade, stronger than before. But let us look even deeper. What is it about your spirit that makes you unstoppable? It is not arrogance, it is not luck, it is alignment. Your soul is aligned with something eternal. You were not created merely to pass time, to gather possessions, or to live unnoticed. You were created with a mission, a thread woven into the tapestry of eternity itself. That mission is why you could never settle for less, why mediocrity never satisfied you, why comfort always felt incomplete. Your soul was always restless for more because it carried an assignment that nothing temporal could fulfill. And here is the truth. Your mission is not just for you, it is for others. The battles you fought in private are the keys you will hand to those still locked in their prisons. The wisdom you gained through suffering is the medicine you will administer to those still bleeding. The strength you forged in loneliness is the anchor you will become for others drifting in storms. This is why the attacks came. They were an attempt to silence not only your life, but the ripple effect of your mission. Imagine for a moment if the enemy had succeeded. Imagine if your spirit had been broken beyond repair. Imagine if you had surrendered your light completely. How many lives would remain untouched? How many voices would remain unheard? How many chains would remain unbroken? The weight of your mission is far greater than you have realized. That is why the war against you was so relentless. It was never just about you, it was about the lives tied to your obedience. So when you look back at the betrayals, the heartbreaks, the mockery, the endless battles, see them now through new eyes. They were not signs of your weakness, they were signs of your significance. They were not evidence of abandonment, they were proof of divine attention. And though you may have cursed the storms, those storms carried you closer to your true identity. Without them, you would not be who you are now, and who you are now is unstoppable. Do not despise the paradox. Do not reject the strange law that pain produces purpose, that opposition proves calling, that betrayal clears the path for destiny. Embrace it, because everything you endured was a setup for what you are about to release into the world. Your mission is clearer now, your spirit is stronger now, your eyes are sharper now, and though others may not understand you, it does not matter. They did not choose you, God did. This is the deep analysis your heart has been searching for. The attacks had reasons, the paradox had purpose, the betrayals had psychology, and all of it connects back to the unshakable truth. You were chosen for a mission larger than your pain. The scars you carry are not blemishes, they are blueprints. Blueprints of how to guide others, how to heal others, how to awaken others. You are not just surviving your story, you are carrying a map for those who will follow, and that is why you are untouchable. Not because life will never test you again, but because no test can erase your mission. No betrayal can cancel your assignment. No darkness can extinguish your flame. And so, as you breathe in this moment, let it sink into your bones. Every attack had meaning. Every paradox had design. Every betrayal had revelation. You are not broken, you are built. You are not forgotten, you are fortified. You are not wandering, you are walking straight into the mission that was written for you before the dawn of time. And now, beloved listener, we arrive at the moment where everything we have spoken converges. The truth has been whispered to you again and again, and now it resounds like a bell in the chambers of your spirit. You are the chosen one. You are not here by accident. You are not listening by coincidence. Every step, every tear, every battle has brought you to this sacred moment of remembrance. For though the world tried to strip it from you, your identity remains unshaken. You were chosen before you even knew your own name, and nothing, no betrayal, no enemy, no failure can erase that truth. You are chosen, and that means you are untouchable in spirit. Your body may grow tired, your heart may feel weary, but your essence, your eternal flame, cannot be extinguished. The promises of God make you immortal in spirit, for they anchor you not to the shifting sands of this world, but to the unshakable foundation of eternity. Others may see only the surface, but heaven sees the crown already placed upon your soul. You are not weak, you are not forgotten, you are not ordinary, you are chosen. Look at your life through this lens now. What once felt like random pain, you now see as preparation. What once felt like cruel betrayal, you now see as divine redirection. What once felt like endless waiting, you now see as careful timing. The mosaic is forming, and the pieces that once seemed broken are revealing an image of strength, endurance, and victory. The promise has always been that those who endure shall overcome, and you, my friend, are the living proof of that promise. I want you to feel this in your bones. Good is coming. Not just survival, not just scraping by, but abundance, healing, and joy. Doors will open that no man can shut. Relationships will be restored or replaced with better. Opportunities will arrive with divine precision. Your enemies will watch as blessings flow, not because you sought revenge, but because God delights in vindicating His chosen. The story of your life is not ending in bitterness. It is unfolding into beauty. And your heart, once heavy with sorrow, will soon carry the lightness of peace. But remember, being chosen is not just an honor. It is a responsibility. You are called to live awake, to walk boldly, to speak truth even when others are silent. You are called to carry your light into places still gripped by shadows. You are called to be an example, not of perfection, but of perseverance. And your very presence, once dismissed by others, will now become a testimony that awakens sleeping hearts. You are not rising for yourself alone. You are rising for those who will find courage through you. So here is your call to action, and I speak it with prophetic urgency. Rise. Do not shrink back into the comfort of invisibility. Do not let fear tie your tongue. Do not allow doubt to chain your steps. Rise into the fullness of your calling. Speak your truth boldly. Walk your path faithfully. Live with the certainty that your life carries eternal purpose. And when resistance comes again, as it surely will, remember who you are. Remember that the chosen one cannot be destroyed, cannot be erased, cannot be silenced. You carry the promises of God, and that makes you untouchable. And now, as we close this moment together, I want you to hear these words as though they were written directly to you, because they are: you are seen, you are loved, you are protected, you are chosen. Do not forget this when the night grows long. Do not forget this when the whispers of doubt creep in. Do not forget this when others cannot understand your path. Hold this truth like fire in your chest. You are chosen, you are untouchable, and you are destined to rise. The road ahead may still hold twists and storms, but now you walk with new eyes, new strength, and new courage. You will not walk alone. Heaven surrounds you. The promises of God go before you. The crown of your chosenness rests firmly on your head, and no matter what comes, you will stand. So I leave you with this blessing. May your heart never again bow to fear. May your spirit never again doubt its worth. May your steps be guided into places of peace, purpose, and promise. And may you carry this truth into every breath, every choice, every tomorrow. You are the chosen one, and your story is far from over. Go in strength. Go in peace. Go in the unshakable confidence that you are untouchable in spirit, crowned with eternal promises and destined to shine forever.